Okay, so we're now live on air. So I don't know where David's went to, but
No,
he's there.
I'm here.
he is there.
We're good. We're good. But yeah, we usually just kind of let a couple of minutes just for people to come in, join the chat, and stuff like that. You obviously probably know this already from your show as well.
Well, I have a beautiful assistant. I have Craig, who does all the technical stuff whilst I just talk to people. And then we use Twitter so that he can message me during the show. And Craig does all the. Basically, Craig is my producer when I'm doing these things. Yeah, it makes life an awful lot easier.
Yeah, this stuff's hard sometimes. Like me and David are the technical ones, so we're like always troubleshooting. So if there is any problems, then we typically catch it just before we start or when we're right about that cusp. So we always do like, oh, try this.
Yeah.
We're the technical ones. So Brian Minnick, what's up? Brian, someone just joined the chat. Brian, he makes these incredible figures.
Right.
Like custom figures, predominantly from horror movies that don't get enough attention from the likes of NECA and like McFarlane and stuff like that. So he does a lot of custom figures.
Oh, right.
His stuff is fantastic. So I'll definitely let you see some of Brian's work after we're done because it's really great. So thanks for joining, Brian.
Oh, I look forward to seeing that because I know Todd McFarlane announced recently that they're going to be doing more of Clive's Tortured Souls.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, because basically they're not beholden to anyone. They can just because they can distribute directly to the purchaser rather than having to go through a distribution arm.
Right.
That means that they can do more of what it is they want to do. And Clive's Tortured Souls, there's going to be another. I don't know how many more or when, but this was published literally in the last couple of weeks.
Nice. Yeah. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think I read it maybe like 2 or 3 days ago on Facebook. Somebody reshared it.
Nice. But yeah, we'll get started. Right. Yes, everyone, welcome to Hellhounds of Horror. We're joined today by a legend in the horror industry, the Chatter from Hellraiser, and Kinski from NightBreed, which everyone knows that watches this knows that NightBreed is my all-time favorite horror movie.
Really?
And yeah, we actually went to Texas Frightmare Weekend and saw you guys there, but I didn't get a chance to meet any of them, like you and Clive and Doug and Barbie. But anytime I saw Barbie just walking aimlessly around the hotel, she always drifted back to where you guys were, so it was good.
Okay. That was crazy. Texas Frightmare was crazy. And that was the busiest show I'd ever done. And I know I'm going to talk. I like spending time with people. That does tend to mean that people can wait a long time in my queue. But it was when I was pointed out that people were queuing around the corner. I think, yeah, I needed some help. A lovely guy called Will stepped in and started managing my line, basically started managing me to make sure that I wasn't spending too much, spending quality time, but not spending too much time with people because it was just never been so busy. It was wonderful, really grateful. Thank you to everybody who came along to Texas Frightmare because I think that was their biggest show they'd ever done. It's like 8 hotels sold out. Extraordinary, absolutely amazing.
And then you were awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Indeed, I was, which should be sitting up on my. Oh yeah, it's one of these great ones that I love. My Lifetime Achievement Award. You can actually probably see it better now. There you are. That's nice. Texas Frightmare Lifetime of Torment Award, which I thought was very, very cool. And of course, the moment I got this, I thought, how the hell do I get it back to England? Sharp. Point is not that sharp. Honestly, it's not that sharp. But it was it went through fine. I needn't have worried. It was absolutely fine. But yeah, very proud of that. Very proud of that.
I bet. I bet. Yeah, let's start from the beginning. Obviously, Hellraiser 1. How did you come into that role? Had you met Clive prior to doing that? How did it come around?
I'd known Clive for about 3 years by that stage. Basically, the long story, which I'll try and keep reasonable. Simon Bamford, who I'm sure most of your viewers know, played Butterball in Hellraiser movies, and Onaka in Nightbreed. Simon and I were in the same year at drama school together.
Oh, nice.
And Clive had seen Simon playing the fool in King Lear and really liked his work and invited him to join Clive's French theatre company, the Dog Company, of which Doug was already a member. And then I reckon it is through Simon that I must have got an invitation to a party which Clive was at. This is up in Crouch End, where the drama school was. And I just met Clive and he just said, and we just hit it off. It was really funny. We hit it off at the party and he said, would you like to come and do some modeling for me? So I did, and I still have the beautiful oil pastel of me that he did, tucked away somewhere. I don't want to get it framed because I don't want sunlight to get to it. So It's beautifully rolled up in I will get it framed one day when I get some more wall space. But at the moment, it's beautifully rolled away. And yeah, so I'd known him for a while. And if you've ever seen the Books of Blood where Clive illustrated the front covers, yeah, I'm on those, or various parts of my anatomy are on those. There's one of my favorite portraits of me is one that Clive did. It was basically my head open up so you can see the brain, and then there are syringes dropping in, and then all the flesh down here is kind of liquid and floating and basically naughty bits. Is that, and then and I think that's volume 4, and then volume 1. There's a lovely photograph. There's a look. I'm on the front cover, holding up a photograph of Clive with a knife sticking out of the top of my head. So yeah, that's Clive. Yeah.
And then started a long friendship, so that's great.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It was we were talking about Texas Frightmare earlier. That was one of the great things, because I had not actually seen Clive in person for, well, since they did the director's cut of Nightbreed, and we did a Q&A with Clive in Los Angeles at a screening of the director's cut of Nightbreed, and that was that was the last time I'd seen him in person. And we're kind of in touch through his people, and so on. And he worked with him on a short story, come to think of it, which he kind of illustrated for. It's called Hellraiser Anthology Volume 2, and my story is called Prayers of Desire, which is my backstory for the Chatterer. So that was published at the end of last year.
Very nice. Brilliant.
Yeah. Oh.
And David, do you have any questions?
I do have some questions. So I have a question about filming on set. So when you were on set, different celebrities have said that, doing horror movies, they experience almost supernatural things on set. Have you ever experienced anything weird or unusual?
That's a really interesting question. I guarantee I don't think I've ever been asked it before. I know, because I'm having to think so hard. No, honestly, I don't. Yeah, you think about things like The Exorcist and so on, and I suspect possibly that a lot of these stories are done by the publicity department to help promote the movie, just possibly. Certainly nothing as far as I'm aware. My memory of filming Hellraiser was, laughter or just really hard work. or challenging conditions, you know, wearing the makeup. I don't remember anybody ever mentioning it either. So no, sorry, no.
I think it was. It's been a while since I read it, but I think it was Poltergeist that when they were filming on.
Oop.
Oh. Yeah, David.
We got that lovely moment halfway through a question, which you often get with Google Hangouts, where David has just frozen. He can probably hear us, or actually we may even be frozen for him.
Am I still frozen?
No, you're there. You're back.
You're good now.
Okay, awesome.
You're halfway through. Yeah, so it was on Poltergeist, you were saying.
Yeah, so it was Poltergeist, I think, was the article that I read years ago where they had seen like an apparition of a little girl. Like they even showed a picture where it was kind of shadowy in the corner.
Right.
But it was one of the things that I had read about that, you know, that they had seen something on set.
Okay.
But like you said, they could have been promoting the movie, so.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I think something similar happened with the recent Conjuring movies.
Right.
I think it was Miss Farmiga. I can't remember her first name. She had mentioned that when she was filming some of the scenes, she'd look up in the corner and there was something there. And then when one of the lights had fallen right in front of her and almost hit her.
Oh wow!
But again, it's typically with these like possession or haunt movies. And it's like, oh, some crazy stuff happened. And it's like,
it's
wow.
interesting, isn't it? I think and I can understand why people would feel that way about that, because if you're working with that kind of material, you're working long hours, you're very tired. We all know that, you know, if you can see the face of Christ in a slice of toast, you know, we see patterns. We always see patterns. That's the way that the mind works. That you see patterns, and therefore you're going to see faces. You're going to see things. And I think if you're doing that kind of material, it's very easily, you know, your whole mind is thinking that. If you do, as an actor, if you're doing your job properly, I think that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. I mean,
Definitely.
for sure. But yeah, Hellraiser. The audition, was this something you had to audition for, or was it just Clive just he was like, I'm making a film, I'm going to get all the people I know and we're going to make this movie?
Yeah. I mean, myself, Doug, Simon, the only kind of audition bit I had to do was Clive got me to retake my headshots. In those days, what you used to have 10x8.
Right. Yeah.
You had physical 10x8 photographs, which you used to send out. We're talking about the 1986, 88. No, 86. We filmed in 86. So sometime in 86, when Clive was discussing it with me, he was saying, I want to put you forward to this. I want to show you the producers. But the trouble is you're too pretty. Your headshots particularly, you're just too pretty. You're too boy next. I think you're too boy next door. So I had to go out and get some more headshots done so that he could present those to the producers to show that I was a tough guy, and I could play a baddie, basically. Obviously understanding I was going to be completely covered in makeup, but I think, you know, it's that kind of thing, like, okay. So I had to go out and get those done, and it obviously worked. I remember I had a huge, great cold sore on my lip when the photographs were being taken, and I had to tell the photographer not to take them out, and not to scratch them out of the negatives. That I needed those. I wanted it looked as if it was a bruised lip. I looked harder because it looked as if I had a bruised lip. So that's what and I can't find. I don't know whatever became of them. They obviously got disappeared in a move somewhere, because I keep on looking for them. I can never find them. I'd love to find them. I found my original Pretty Boy 10x8, but I've not found.
Oh wow, that's really cool, actually.
Yeah. Although just go to my Facebook photographs; they're on there somewhere.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Me with hair.
On you go, David.
All right. So being that you've played this role and also the role that you played in NightBreed, was there ever a role that you ever tried out for that you didn't get that you really wanted, or a role just in general that you've always wanted to play?
There's plenty of failed auditions. I'm an actor, so that's inevitably true. There are projects I would love to be part of. I would love to do, if they ever remake any of the Vincent Price, Edgar Allan Poe, Roger Corman films, I want to be part of those. I'd love to be, and also particularly Theatre of Blood. There's a part in the Vincent Price movie Theatre of Blood that was originally played by Milo O'Shea, who's completely probably the wrong casting for it. But yeah, there are plenty of those kind of really old-fashioned ones that I'd like to do. But yeah, I think one of those self-protection mechanisms as an actor is you don't want to want things too much, because having to live with the disappointment it could be tough. Could be really, really, if you don't get things, because you can easily write yourself off. Oh, hello, Al.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going very well.
That's amazing. I've just popped in. Sorry for interrupting the conversation.
Al's in New Orleans right now on vacation, so I sent him the link and he can join whenever. So that's welcome.
Welcome me. Thank you so much. So what's going on?
Yeah, well, I was literally just saying, I mean, I will more or less answer the question anyway. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of things that I would like to do if given, and plenty of people I would love to work with. But yeah, it doesn't do to get your hopes up too much on these things. Right. It's because you just wander around in a days. You can lose days going, I don't get it. I love what George Clooney says about auditions. Is basically when you walk into the audition, you don't have the part. When you walk out, you don't have the part. A part, it may just come along at some point. And people do get cast on the down at the time. I do know that, but I like the attitude. It's kind of like saying, all you're giving up is your time, and it's an experience, and you're meeting people. And even if you're not right for that part, there could be something down the line. So yeah, so always best not to. I was talking to some mates and thinking, oh yeah, if I got this part, I would have earned. The money was so good, and I'm thinking, that's not the way to think about it. You're just going to regret. You can't think about it. You really can't think about it. Like, you can if you want to. It's your choice. But my advice is don't, because then it also. And they admitted, actually, I was checking. It was a modeling job he was talking about, and he was saying because he wanted it so much. The moment he learned how much the money was, he put an awful lot of pressure on himself.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're all going to need money. We all need the money. Actors are always poor, in inverted commas. We always need the money, and therefore getting something huge, is amazing. But yeah, so yeah, there's plenty of things, and hopefully one day they'll happen.
Oh yeah, we can all hope. So yeah, welcome, Al. Do you have any questions for Nicholas here?
Yeah, of course. First of all, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well. I was just saying to the guys earlier on, really quite tired because I've been running around a lot today. We were gardening, and I was shopping, and so on. But I've been out. I've been getting back. I was back just before midnight last night because I'm patron of the London Horror Festival. Oh. And that kicked off last Sunday. And I've already seen 6 of the shows. There's 2 shows a night, so it means I've been there 3 nights, and I'm just about to start doing some, and I've got 2 shows tomorrow night, 2 shows Monday night, then I'm out on Tuesday, and then 2 shows on Wednesday night. It's great. I mean, I'm having an amazing time. Really, having an amazing time, and everything I've seen so far has been American. So far, the scariest thing is a thing called Fear itself.
Yes.
Which is kind of a one-woman show, but I kid you not, at one point we were all, the entire audience is screaming and shouting, and the lady who was sitting next to me, was huddling next to her partner, going, "Make it stop, make it stop, make it stop," because it was so scary. It was so scary. So yeah, we've been having some great. But last night was it was two things actually. It was the Maydays doing an improvised horror story, and they literally just started out with they asked people what their grandparents did for a living, and they happened to choose my granddad, who was a guard on a train, and for the next 50 odd minutes they improvised an entire story based on a train, and they had ghouls, and they had it was brilliant. And it's not only were they improvising dialogue, they were improvising songs and music, and it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. They're off to Gothenburg in a couple of weekends time. They've been together for 14 years doing this stuff, so they're incredibly slick.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that really is extraordinary. So yeah, there are 33 shows this year. I think I'm going to make around about 25, 26 of them. So this is basically my October and into the beginning of November. So I'm just very lucky to get to see all these shows.
Oh, I imagine. So the first question I have for you is, I'm not sure if they've asked this yet, but the makeup process for the role, what in the hell was that like? Because you have a very unique costume, obviously a very unique face when you're Cenobite. What was it like going through the whole process over and over again?
Well, honestly, we didn't have to. I don't think the guys did have to do it over and over and over again. We probably, I think. Oh, that's right. That's just I was trying to work out what was going on. My screensaver just came on. That's what distracted me. I suddenly thought, why is my screen gone black? Okay, so I think I probably did about 8 days filming in total, possibly 4 or 5, because we're not in it that much.
The first one definitely not.
No, the Cenobites aren't in it that much. They're certainly not in it that much in the second one. I think it's 8.5 minutes of screen time for the Cenobites in total. So, although they were long days.
Yes.
I mean, particularly for Doug, in terms of the Cenobites, the person who obviously had the longest day was Oliver Smith, who played Skin Frank, because that was 8 hours into makeup when they did the complete body. But I think he only had to do that for a couple of days, for 2 or 3 days. So, I mean, it was extremely intriguing, and it was fun. I mean, it was challenging because I couldn't hear, speak, or see when I was wearing it. So, apart from that. But there was such a great atmosphere on set. It was good. But it was amazing, that the whole process, because of course we started about 3 months before filming in terms of actually having body casts and life casts done. So that's kind of like it. But yeah, in terms of the actual number of days, we didn't have to do it that often. It was the fact that they put me in makeup and costume for 8 hours on a couple of days and didn't film me. I think those were the longest days. It's like, I can't believe this. Because it was, it's a bit like sensory deprivation when you're wearing that mask and makeup. But yeah, no, it was tough. But hey, I'm really grateful that I got to do it. Because otherwise I wouldn't be talking to you guys now. So
yeah, I imagine so, because you're behind. I would say you're a lot of the people's favorite Cenobite.
Well, thank you.
I say that confidently, because whenever you ask people that, we've been doing this for a while, the show and everything. There's always the Chatterer and obviously Pinhead. And I'm looking, you have a 18-inch figure back there, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, damn, okay, I can't imagine covering my damn eyes, wearing all that.
It's covering your eyes, it's covering your ears as well, so you can hardly hear as well. So I could see, I could see kind of, if I looked down to my left, there was a little hole. I could see about 2 feet of that. And I must be able to, and I had some sort of sense as to where I was going, because I was rewatching it again the other day. And when I'm walking forward towards Ashley, obviously she's backing away and helping selling it. But I'm definitely going in the right direction. But then again, I'm literally just taking 2 or 3 paces. And we will have rehearsed it a couple of times, and they will have given me little sandbags to put at my feet so that I know when to stop moving and so on. And it's mostly quite short shots when you see Chatterer working. So yeah, it was tough. But thank you. I think I'm really pleased with the way people's reactions to Chatterer, because he is, and it's the one makeup that's being constantly re-envisioned. You know, there are still Chatterer Cenobites in the later movies.
Yes.
You know, different versions. Gary Tunnicliffe has taken him in a slightly different way. So I think there's something very, but I think we discuss this every so often, and what some people are saying, you can't have a conversation with Chatterer despite the name. Yes, you can't, you can't. He's the only one who touches anybody as well. He physically lays hands on Ashley.
Yes.
Everybody else just kind of stands there. I mean, female Cenobite gets her knife out and Butterball threatens them and then gets a whole house dropped on her in the first movie. But, you know, they don't actually touch them. It's all the flying hooks and chains, etc. that they do. But Chatterer is the one who's actually physical with them, and you can't reason with him. He is just going to huck you up, basically. There is no way around. You know, he doesn't take it. You know, you're not going to get past him, and he's just, you know, you're not. That's one of those lovely moments at the end of the movie when, and spoiler alert, just in case anybody.
Yeah, if anyone's ever seen Hellraiser, then
there are still people. I mean, that's the greatest thing we do when we do. Yeah. You know, I'm really lucky enough to be invited to introduce Hellraiser. And very often it's between 25 to 50% of the audience have never seen it before. So I think because people who have seen it love it so much, they bring all their mates along saying, you've got to see this.
Yeah.
And it's an excuse. So that we are still getting new audiences about it. So can't remember what I was talking about now before I started going off on a tangent.
About how he's so physical.
Oh yeah, how he's so physical. I completely. Yeah, I mean, basically, he's very physical.
That's a small detail that I'd never noticed until you just said that, and it makes sense now. Like the only one that physically touches anyone. That's that's really cool. I'd never noticed that before. I
only noticed it because I've been talking about this for the last 20 odd years. So, don't blame. Don't be hard on yourself.
And there's a, like you'd mentioned as well, there's been different variations of the Chatterer throughout Hellraiser, because even from between 1 and 2, the makeup changed differently. But in Hellbound, was there a similar?
No, it was because I whinged to the makeup department an awful lot.
I need eyes.
Yeah, I don't know if I can carry on, because what I remember is the laughter, and I'm incredibly grateful to it. But at the end of that filming, I realized, I mentioned it earlier on, it is like sensory deprivation.
Yeah.
And when they left me in it for 8 hours, you can't hear. You can't hear properly. Your eyes are covered. You can breathe, but you can't physically speak. So it is like having a sack over your head for about 8 hours. And because if you do that with your ears, you know, it's like having white noise in your ears.
Yeah, it's the ring.
So I was really quite depressed by the end of it. So it was physically grueling. And I became really good friends with Jeff Portis and Roy Puddifoot from Image Animation. Jeff designed and created Pinhead, and Roy is his partner, still together. And Roy ran Image Animation in terms of administration.
Right.
And I just whinged at them and saying, listen, if there's a way, I'm quite happy to play Chatterer again, but is there something we can do just to make it so I can see? You know, I love the makeup. The look is incredible. But can I just see? Can we give me something? And they said actually the only way of really doing it is just to give you eyes. And we did film a sequence where the skin got peeled back from the eyes to reveal the eyes underneath, but that was never used. In fact, the whole transformation thing was never used, which is kind of, and I rather like the way it plays now, the fact that he just suddenly has eyes. Because you hear his chattering first, and then he steps out from and think, oh, he was bad enough before, but now he can see you. What's he going to do? What's he going to do now? But yeah,
that's a good point as well. Yeah, again, I hadn't noticed that until because we also have like a bi-weekly show where we review movies and have like different guests, like other YouTubers and like different people. And one of my picks was Hellraiser II. It stuck with me, like the scene with like the mattress, like scene on the mattress.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that was when I was younger. It was terrifying.
Yeah,
and just the whole movie with like Dr. Chenard and all that stuff like was just so visual for me. It's stuck in my head, so it's always been one of my all-time favorites. It's one of Al's all-time favorites as well, actually. He was horrified when the Cenobite started to get killed by Dr. Chenard. So that's one of his too. So
right. Yeah, I can let you into a slight secret. So in the sequence you're talking about when she comes back, there's a great video, if you can find it on YouTube, of them trying out the mattress. The guys from Image Animation. I've no idea how you'd find it, but somebody shared a link to me the other day.
Oh.
But later on, where you see when she's in the bandages, and you see his hand moving up her thigh and the buttocks at the back, and it's not Ken Cranham's hand; it's my hand. And it's one of the guys from Image Animation, a guy called Little John, wearing the skin Juliet. No, just that part of it, because he still is. He's a very slim guy,
right?
And they didn't happen to have a girl. He's like, oh, fine, I'll wear. So he was wearing that and wearing the dress, and so when you see the skirt, the hand raising the skirt, that's my hand. The only part of my my anatomy you get to see in any Hellraiser movie is my right hand.
Brilliant. Oh, David, do you have any other questions?
Yes, I'm going to ask him the question that I ask everybody. So every time I ask somebody this question, everybody's got a different answer. So when you watch horror movies or any movie in general, what are your go-to snacks when you watch?
Oh, that's interesting. I'll tell you what it used to be before I went on a diet. And that's a tub of mango sorbet.
Really?
Used to sit like a quart tub of mango sorbet, and I would just sit and take the lid off and eat the entire thing. That's how I got up to 15.5 stone. That kind of, although to be honest, I haven't actually done it yet. So that's probably it. We have a snack over here called Twiglets.
Oh yeah,
you remember Twiglets. Yeah. How do we describe this for Americans? Okay, so basically I don't think there's any equivalent in America or Canada, is there?
The only thing I can think of in terms of the shape is like Takis.
Okay. Oh, I've never heard of those.
Or like kind of like hot Cheetos, like that kind of shape.
Right. I mean, basically, the reason they're called Twiglets is because they look like twigs.
Yeah.
They look like little short branches. They're made out of bread, a dough mixture, but really crisply baked, and then covered in Marmite.
What is Marmite?
See, yeast extract with salt.
Oh, okay.
It's very salty, and their advertising slogan is "You either love it or hate it."
That's true.
Australians will know Vegemite, which is very similar. Marmite. So Twiglets is probably my go-to. It used to be Maltesers. Do you have Maltesers?
I have no idea what that is. So I'm going to say no.
Like balls, like
what?
malt balls.
Oh, like Whoppers.
Like Whoppers, yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah, they have
the lighter way to eat chocolate.
Yeah, the lighter way to eat chocolate.
The lighter way to eat chocolate is basically it's a honeycomb ball covered in milk chocolate. And none of your American chocolate either. Some proper British dairy milk chocolate. The taste is so different.
I've always wanted to try it. I've never tried
really.
it.
If you ever get to come across, I don't. I know you're not allowed to bring Kinder eggs into America. Kinder is a German chocolate with a plastic egg with a toy inside it, but covered in chocolate. But it's the chocolate they object to, not the plastic. And it's the chocolate you're not allowed to bring in. It's not. They don't care about a choking hazard. It's the fact it's the chocolate. They don't agree with the chocolate.
Is it the ingredients or how it's made?
Yeah, I think it must have something to do with the chocolate. But I know I have American friends who come across and say, "Okay, can you get me some Cadbury's chocolate?" So yeah. But not that I'm eating chocolate at the moment. At least for another month or two until
exactly.
Next 14 pounds.
That's interesting. Again, I've seen Kinder stuff here in Canada, but I've never seen anything in America.
Yeah, you're not allowed to take it across the border.
Yep.
See, they keep all the good stuff away from us.
Yeah.
I know.
Homegrown stuff.
I'm living in the wrong country, guys.
Brilliant.
Just remember, it's a very small planet overall. It's when you compare it to the rest of just the galaxy, it's a very small planet.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's another chocolate galaxy.
Oh, that's true. That is very well done. Well done. Do you guys have Mars bars?
Our Mars bars are different from their Mars bars.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that they're different than
Right.
I feel like they also have Milky Way, but it's not the same Milky Way as the UK. Their Milky Way is like a Mars bar because it's got like the dark like nugget inside and then the caramel, and it's like a brown wrapper with green writing.
Okay, but you have Snickers.
Yes, we do have Snickers.
Yes, or Marathon, as I keep on referring to it, because that's how it was introduced into this country. It was called a Marathon bar.
Oh, right, yeah.
And every so often I'll start asking for a Marathon bar, and Craig, I think, no, it's called Snickers. Has been for 30 odd years. It was called Marathon when it first came out when I was a kid. Anyway, yes, chocolate.
Chocolate, yeah. Chocolate, Twiglets, or mango sorbet.
Yeah, mango sorbet. Yeah.
The one that I keep wanting to try from Canada is the Coffee Crisp.
Oh, yeah. David, I'll bring you some Coffee Crisp.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I hear good things about it.
Oh, yeah. It's like a light wafer it's kind of got like a acquired taste, I guess. It's not like really heavy on the coffee aspect. It's just really like a light wafer with like a coffee spread, I guess, like a thin coffee spread.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I've heard several people tell me about it, so I've always wanted to try it just to say that I tried it.
Yeah, I'll bring some over for you in May.
Nice.
Absolutely. Yes, moving from confectionery on to NightBreed.
Okay.
So I've been wanting to talk to you about NightBreed for a long time.
Now's your chance.
Absolutely. In terms of the makeup from Hellraiser to NightBreed, what was there much difference? Or was it still like an easy application, short filming time, or was it?
Oh no, it was very different. I mean, so for Chatterer was very, very straightforward because it was literally a mask which they could slip on and off. Chatterer, they put a bald cap on my head and then put the plastic teeth in, and then put the mask over that. That was very straightforward. Kinski was 5 hours. Now, should point out this, and Simon pointed this out a few years ago, and he's absolutely right because we kept on saying, "Yeah, 5 hours," and Simon said, "You know what? We really had it very easy." Well, Simon had it even easier because his makeup on NightBreed was he had false nipples because he didn't have pierced nipples, and Bob Keane applied those. I think after he had such a tough time with Butterball, because I mean Butterball's mask was that thick. Mine was, and Simon, it was really unpleasant for Simon. It was really, really tough on him. But Simon was pointing out that, we complain about how long we had to spend in the makeup chair. Hell, all we had to do was sit still and not fall asleep. The guys who were applying it, in my case, Kinski was Neil Gorton, who's gone on to create Millennium FX and does all the modern Doctor Who effects makeup. Cool. I don't know if he's doing the current series but certainly it did the first few. There was Neil. And I believe, if my memory is correct, Mark Coulier was his assistant. Now, Mark has won 2 Oscars for his makeup. Wow. So, I mean, that's the great thing about NightBreed, was that they were huge. It was a huge, so many monsters. It was a huge department, the makeup. So a hell of a lot of people started out as image animation, who've then gone on to do really great things in the FX industry. But they were on their feet. They had to get themselves there. I mean, I got picked up by a car because I was the talent. They had to make their own way there.
Right, yeah.
They sculpted the pieces. They painted the pieces. I mean, they did the original clay sculpture. Neil wouldn't have cast it, but he and Mark will have been responsible for painting because this is foam latex we're talking, not silicone. So they all have to be painted. They have to glue the wigs on, and then they have to stay to take everything off. And then they had to be on. So whilst I was on set, then one of them had to be with me to do any touch-ups, making sure there weren't any edges showing. So yeah, I mean, in terms of wearing it, then much nicer, because I could hear, speak, and see. Yay!
Very true. Yeah.
I was so happy. My only contribution to that makeup was the fact I had to dye my chest hair black, because I was a blonde and Kinski was dark haired, and which involves basically a loincloth made out of saran wrap. And then not answering the door to your neighbor when she calls halfway through the process. Having to dye my chest hair black. That was really, in terms of makeup, that was all I contributed to that process.
Interesting. Yeah, the thought of that movie with all the effects that were done, because there was no CGI or anything back then. It was all mostly practical.
I think it was all practical on NightBreed. I mean, in Hellraiser, you kind of get CGI, or the equivalent, except that there was no computer involved in those days. They literally scratched the negative to make those little dots.
Yeah.
Or they hand painted it onto the negative to make those colored dots. Is there any CGI in NightBreed? I don't think there is. I mean, all the explosions are real. All the gun flashes might be. It's before CG. It's before computer graphic generated images, I think. So yeah, definitely before CGI.
91. 1991, that's when
91. So we made Hellraiser in 96. We made Hellbound in 80. Sorry, Hellraiser in 86. Hellbound in 87. And then I think we filmed NightBreed in 89, and it was released in 91.
Right. Which is hilarious. I was born.
Yeah.
I was born in 91.
Oh, stop it.
Which lucky you, John. Lucky.
Crazy that NightBreed came out the year I was born, and I honestly didn't see it probably until the last few years, which was really amazing. And it was on Netflix at one point, and I just always used to go past it, and I was gonna watch it, and I'm like, oh, this is like really colorful. It was I think the artwork they used was the sort of purple artwork. I feel like it was a special edition with the bright yellow NightBreed logo.
Yeah,
they used that, and then when I'd click on it and I'd read through it, I'm like, that's interesting. Maybe I'll watch that when I get some time. So finally bit the bullet, and I was like, wow, wow. And then I didn't realize that it was Clive Barker, and then I was like, oh. And then all the people that were in Hellraiser, which I loved Hellraiser, have done years. I'm like, it's the same people.
Yes.
So it was like connecting all these dots. I was like, oh my god. That was mind blown. So that was my experience with NightBreed.
It's a good movie. I mean, there are now 3 versions of it, of course. There's the theatrical, which is on Amazon Prime at the moment.
Right, yeah.
There is the director's cut, and then they release the Cabal cut, which actually kind of becomes between original and in terms of historic, but they only released the Cabal cut recently. So yeah, there are now 3. So you've got 3 different versions of the movie as well.
I think I've seen the theatrical and the director's cut, but I've not seen the Cabal cut. Yeah. So I saw Clive was selling those at, I think it was a convention at some point last year, because he was selling there was this huge special edition that came out with a copy of the Cabal cut and a lot of artwork and like designs and posters and stuff like that came in this box.
Right.
And I was just so tempted, and I didn't get it. But I was tempted. But I did get the Texas Frightmare Weekend NightBreed print. Oh,
the one that was done by Mondo.
Yes, that's the one.
Yes. Yeah. Oh god, that was bad as far as I was concerned, because at least 2 people I started, because normally when I sign my autograph, it's on Hellraiser. It's always at Hellraiser. It's not always Hellraiser. It's predominantly Hellraiser. Probably about 90% Hellraiser and 10% NightBreed over a given weekend. And automatic. And the thing is, I was just so busy at Texas. I was literally became an automatic pilot, and every so often I started drawing chatterers on people's NightBreed posters. Oh no. That's bad. That's so bad.
Oh, that's excellent.
And so they were very good. They were really good about it. And I was like, oh god.
Yeah, because it's not as if it's like
it makes it unique. Oh heavens, I hate it. I mean, it's bad enough when you're defacing people's things anyway, which we're obviously asking you to do.
True.
But it's kind of like, you still feel as if you're doing graffiti on people's posters, and to get it wrong, it's just.
One thing I did notice, and I pointed this out a while ago, where my poster hangs in my office, it's at eye level with the credits at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And I just so happened to turn around one day and I looked and I saw that they've spelt Doug Bradley's name wrong. It says Doe Bradley, Dough.
That's bad.
Oh, no.
And of course, the annoying thing is, now you'll never forget it. Now you'll never not be able to see it.
The only thing I see whenever I see it.
Every time, that huge poster, you're just going to stare at that H all the time. I can't believe they did that. Oh, wow. I feel a hell of a lot better now, because, I just did it on like 2 or 3, not on every single one.
And I think there was 150. I think that was the most limited print at TFW.
Really?
It was the only one or one of the only ones that didn't sell out. So they listed it up online, because I didn't actually get it at the convention. I got it online after the convention, because I just kept seeing it everywhere. And I'm like, I need this. So I got it, and then got a frame for it. And then I just looked around one day and it was eye level. And I was like, oh no.
You have to drop it down or raise it just to,
or just like go over it with like, I think it's just black at the bottom. So I mean, I could just get a Sharpie.
Oh, sure. You just get a Sharpie. At least there's something. But then you're gonna have a weird gap between the next letter.
True, yeah.
Unless he's at the very end of a line, then you're gonna get a weird gap.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle. Yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Doe Bradley.
Doe Bradley. So there's one that if you ever see Doug in the near future, there's one thing you can.
I will mention that to him, just so you noticed.
Let me just see if we've got any questions from the chat here.
Oh yeah, we got a couple.
Okay.
I thought they were being very quiet and civilized.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just chattering away. My question is, I forgot to ask you the other Cenobites. Okay, so this is from Megan. She says, my question is, and I forgot to ask you and the other Cenobites at Days of the Dead in Chicago last year, but did you guys get to keep anything from the set or your costumes from either the first movie or second movie?
Hi, Megan. No, really, definitely not. In terms of the makeup, of course, they're all, apart from Butterball and Chatterer, the makeups were all destroyed when they were removed. True. Because you have to use a solvent to remove it. It melts both the glue and the makeup itself. The costumes were held on. The production companies are very canny. They hold on to, because there's all the property of the production company.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I did actually have for many years the little. I talked about the fact that the eye was removed. I had that little squidge of makeup, but again, that just and I had a piece of leather. I remember the only reason I remember because I had a small teddy bear. I wrapped the small teddy bear in the leather and touched the thing, and just as a place, just as a way of keeping it, basically. And that's all I ever had. The Chatterer mask and the Butterball mask do still exist. They're in the hands of a private collector. They no longer travel because they are so fragile. Yeah. The last time I saw Chatterer was about 5 years ago at Monster Mania in New Jersey, and that was the last time they brought them out. But they are now literally so fragile they can't be moved anymore. The costumes still exist as well, the original costumes we wore, and that was actually really emotional seeing them. But no, I'm afraid not. I don't have any. I don't have anything original.
That makes sense. Because most things, like you said, they belong to the production company.
Yeah.
So typically, if you do have something, it's because you've stole it.
Yeah,
you don't want to admit that.
I know happened to the puzzle boxes. On the first day of filming, 3 disappeared of Hellbound. They made extras just so that they could have spares, just in case they, to make sure they were. And 3 of them disappeared within a couple of days of it starting. So yeah, I think those were the most walkable things.
Oh yeah, you just slide that in your coat pocket.
Yeah. No one's gonna know.
Do the original Lament configuration boxes still exist, like the original from the movies?
I have no idea. Because I mean that would have been held onto by Image Animation, which obviously doesn't exist anymore. So what? I think all that stuff got sold into sold to private collectors, or went with some of the staff. I assume, I don't know, but I would imagine somebody somewhere has possibly got them.
Right. That makes sense. We got a question here from Natalie. She says, have you ever heard of Glasgow Horror Fest and would you ever attend? It's a new event and no one's done signings or anything, but it's a cool event.
I have heard of it. I'm seeing it come up on my Facebook page. If they want to invite me and if they want to talk to my manager who arranges these things for me, then yes, absolutely. It depends if it's a convention or a film festival, because it's like, often I'm invited to go to as I say, introduce Hellraiser screenings and do Q&As. Did a lovely one recently in Clonakilty in Southern Ireland. Had a great time. A thing called Spook Screen. Had a really, really nice time. Met Meg Foster for the first time, who's lovely, absolutely lovely. I was up in Edinburgh earlier this year, along with Matthew Lillard, Jonathan Drake, and they were there, and Eileen Dietz. Eileen will scream if I don't mention her name. Eileen was there. Who else was there? Jonathan, I'm sure there was somebody else. There were lots of other people. Richard Brake was there. Yeah. Talk to my manager is the answer to the question. All my bookings are handled by my manager.
Natalie actually won tickets, like VIP tickets, to go to Glasgow Horror Fest in a competition. So she just said, "You can come with me. It's free."
Well, ask her when it is.
Yeah, when is it? I can't remember. I feel like it might be relatively soon, but I think it's.
I think it might be during the run of London Horror Festival, which runs. And I'm kind of at the other end of the country.
That's true. Yeah.
That's like
We got another question from Jenny, and she asks, "Who is your favorite Cenobite?" If you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one, obviously Chatterer. I have to say, I think of all the movies, I'm really fond of the Chatterer dog, who appears in Bloodline, I think. Because, there's many different versions of Chatterer. I like Chatterer dog just because he was the subject of what is possibly, and you're asking great question, guys. Don't let me imply otherwise. But my favorite question at any convention I was ever asked was asked by a 9-year-old boy.
Oh wow!
Who was at the convention, and he said, "Is the Chatterer dog Chatterer's dog in hell?" And I thought that is just such a great question, because he knew. Again, spoilers if you've not seen Hellbound, but Chatterer is a boy who grew up in hell, or someone who looks like a boy who grew up in hell. And all boys need dogs, and so I love the idea that Chatterer, a boy in hell, had a dog in hell. And it's just like, I just think that's brilliant. That's such a nice idea. So yeah, of all the Cenobites, that's probably my favorite. I think it's really difficult because obviously I think of them as my mates in terms of but yeah, it'll be the Chatterer dog. If it's not going to be Chatterer, it'll be Chatterer dog.
There you go. Brilliant.
Nice.
And, have you seen any of the more recent Hellraiser movies, like Hellraiser Judgment?
No, I haven't. Mostly because people have told me I shouldn't bother. Although I understand the most recent one is that Judgment with Paul T. Taylor.
Yes,
it's very good. In fact, I was talking to the guys on the Hellraiser podcast. Yes, or one of the guys, Philip, on the Hellraiser podcast the other day at London Horror Festival, as it happens. And he was saying it's really good. Really enjoyed it. They've done something good here. So I do keep on meaning to, and I will get round to seeing it someday, maybe. I've got yay much DVDs that I need to get through, and etc. So that's the one. That's the one I'm actually really would like to see. I'd like to see the one. I've never actually sat down. The Craig Sheffer's in one. I can't remember which one, which I think is the one that might have the Chatterer torso in, possibly.
Yeah,
I think it's that one. I can't remember which one.
That's one of my favorites as well, obviously because of Craig Sheffer, obviously because of NightBreed.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy. He's a really, I love Craig. He's a really, really nice guy.
One person that we all have, like our one person we'd love to just talk to on this show. Craig is mine.
Right,
all the time. And also because my partner, she is obsessed with One Tree Hill, and he played Keith in One Tree Hill.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
What's it called? I'm just gonna double check. Inferno.
Oh, Inferno. I think I've got it somewhere. I know I've got random DVD, and so I've definitely got random Hellraiser. I think I've got Inferno. Should put it in the DVD player sometime.
They're all different in their own right. There's a lot of different aspects that everyone adds to them when they make these movies.
Well, at least two of them, of course, they were existing scripts and they just dropped Pinhead into them. Which I don't think is a terribly good way of dealing with the source material. But you never know what might happen in the future. Now, the demise of Dimension, who had the rights, what's going on with them now.
Excellent. Yeah, I don't have any further questions. David, do you have any other questions?
I do have one. We were talking about it before. I know everybody wants to know what projects are you working on coming up.
Okay, and I'm going to try and make this not a shopping list, okay? Because I did sit down the other day and I thought, because people ask me this and I think, no, I'm forgetting them. Okay, so I've mentioned London Horror Festival, which is on until the beginning of November, November the 3rd. And as I say, there are some amazing shows on there. And if you've never been to a horror theatre show, I suppose the one that most people have been to is... the one that I cut, I will remember. Lady in Black is probably the horror show that people stage show, but it's very different to watching a film. It's a very different experience. Okay, so we have got Book of Monsters, which is going to be released by Dread Central Presents. That's in the first quarter of next year. Yeah, really, and in fact, I'm attending a screening of that on Halloween. That's how I'm spending my Halloween. So I'm going to be at the Unrestricted View Horror Film Festival, which is at the Hen and Chickens in Highbury, Islington, as part of the London Horror Society evening, because they're going to be screening some British short films, and then they're going to do Book of Monsters. And I'm introducing that along with a lady called Lizzie B, who's one of the stars of the film. We're going to be introducing it. I'm looking forward to that. Other stuff that that is out there at the moment, and that's Borley Rectory, Ashley Thorpe's amazing film, which he did via rotoscope and took him 3 years to create, which stars Reece Shearsmith from League of Ordinary Gentlemen and League of Gentlemen, and Julian Sands, my mate Julian Sands.
Oh, nice.
He's narrating it. And Borley Rectory, for those of you who don't know, was reputedly the most haunted house in Britain. Yeah. He's doing that. That's out. Those both Book of Monsters and Borley Rectory are out at the moment on festival runs. And Borley's been out for nearly a year on its festival run. Things that I have filmed recently that I'm waiting for to come out. The most recent thing I filmed was Paintball Massacre, which was Lee Latchford Evans from Steps. I spent a couple of days doing that. That's really good fun. It's a great script as well. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's about a massacre on a paintball. A paintball massacre. Yeah, it's great, gory, lots of practical effects.
Nice.
They're literally still filming that at the moment. I think they're on their last days filming at the moment. There's that Heckle, which stars, now UK audiences may know that Danny Dyer, who won Love Island recently. Clark Gable III, Clark Gable's grandson, is also in it as well. There's somebody else, but I'm not sure if that's been announced yet, so I'm not going to say it, but there is somebody, another big name. So look out for Heckle. These are all horror films, by the way.
Nice.
There is there's two films from Hex Media. There is For We Are Many, which is the anthology film that deals with demons. That's coming out early next year. And there's The Black Gloves, which premiered at Fright Fest Halloween last year and is available from Hex Media. There's that. And then there are another one that was going to hopefully coming out fairly soon, but I filmed at the beginning of the year in Italy, and that's called Fuck You, Immortality. That's an Italian. I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. That was really, and I play a monster without makeup. When I was asked to play it was like, would you like to play a monster without makeup? Like, yeah, okay. And the character really is. It's just like, yeah, it's really fun. So there's lots of stuff just happening at the moment in terms of actually been really fortunate enough to do quite a lot of acting in the last 12 months. So they're all kind of bubbling under, just waiting to come out. So they should be coming out certainly in the next 6 to 8 months. They should all be coming to either a cinema or because I think Paintball Massacre is going to be going to theatrical release.
Oh, very nice.
As part of Dread Central Presents. That's what I understand. That's what was being talked about.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, you never know until it actually happens.
Exactly. Same like acting.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You never know what's around the corner. Never know what's around the corner.
Exactly. Brilliant.
Wow. A lot of good stuff to look forward to.
Yes. And I'll leave a link to your website in the description for anyone to go and see if they want to check out what you're up to. If they forget any of those titles,
sure.
Then they're going to be
go because there's lots of them. And then there's also, of course, there's the Chattering Show, which will be starting again in November. Because I'm just trying to nail down the beginning of November. I should nail down the next two. 4th of November, that hopefully there should be a show. I'm just not quite sure who the guest is going to be at the moment. I'm waiting for somebody to confirm. So the next
that's our life, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you appreciate it. You know it so well. Yeah.
We get it. So yeah, if anyone doesn't know, again, I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. You can go through.
Yeah, it's all on the website. Just go to the website, nicholasvince.com. It's really easy.
Brilliant. Yeah, I don't have any other questions. So
good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much indeed for having me on, guys. This has been fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been absolutely our pleasure having you on. You're always welcome for any of these projects that come out. You're always welcome to come back on and talk about them.
Oh, I'd love to. Oh yeah, I mean, sometime next year. It'd be interesting to see, kind of middle of next year, to see what's happening. That would be fabulous.
Be good to catch up. We'll definitely keep in touch on Facebook and stuff like that. So
cool.
Thank you again for having us. Thank you guys for watching. And you guys have a good Saturday, and you have a good rest of your Saturday evening.
I will do, yeah. I'm going to probably watch Solo or so. Actually, Doctor Who. I've got to catch up with the new Doctor Who. I want to see a female Doctor Who. Nice. We have not had a chance to watch it yet. All right, then, guys. Take care. Bye.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night.